Hey everyone, this is Spidey-Fan 101, and I have come to share my breakthrough with you all. Now, you're all probably like, what's your breakthrough? I'm gonna be like, I will explain. So, I was in the middle of rewatching Elseworlds, and when we got to the second part, the Batwoman episode, I really started thinking, because I was watching it with my grandma, and she said that, oh, that looks an awful lot like Chicago. And I was like, it does look like Chicago. Just like Chicago was portrayed as Gotham City in the Dark Knight trilogy. And there's another instance in terms of Oliver saying, Oliver thinking that the Batman is a myth. Why? Because his legacy spreads throughout Earth 1. As he died on that day, sacrificing himself to destroy that bomb and save everybody in Gotham/Chicago. And then, Oliver desperately wants to believe that he was the first vigilante. But we all know the Dark Knight trilogy came out in it actually started like in the early 2000s all the way to 2000 and it was either 2011 or 12. I think it was 2012. And then 2012 was the year that Arrow began. And that Bane mask, I don't think it was coincidental. Because, as you all know, that's the same mask that Bane wore in The Dark Knight Rises. And so, all of these things I don't think are coincidental. I think that the Arrowverse and the people behind it are trying to tell us that all along we've been thinking Batman has not been in the Arrowverse. He's nowhere to be seen. But what if he was all along and we didn't even know it? Think about it. If my breakthrough turns out to be correct, then Batman was the one that really started the Arrowverse. So it will be the Batverse. But yeah, it started in the early 2000s, ended in 2012, and then 2012 was when Arrow first premiered. And then that's when everything spiraled. And so we know that around 2012, once the Batman was presumed dead, Bruce Wayne lived a regular life with Selene Kyle, aka Catwoman, Anne Hathaway. This could be the reason as to why the Batman has not been seen in Gotham for as long as they're saying. Because maybe he stopped being Batman and he lived a life with Selene Kyle. And the fact that Oliver thinks that he is the first vigilante, when in reality, Batman's been at this since the early 2000s, that just proves everything right there. And the fact that Gotham City is in Chicago, just like in the Dark Knight trilogy, and the Bane mask just happens to be the one from the Dark Knight trilogy. Now look, this is my breakthrough. I think that the Dark Knight trilogy has secretly been a part of the Arrowverse all along and we didn't know it. That's what I think. And that's why I think Arrow was so close in terms of relation to Batman, in terms of the tone of that show, because they already did Batman in the Dark Knight trilogy. It all makes perfect sense, because since Batman has already existed and already had his shine in his movies, Then we could go on to characters like Arrow and give him a tone like Batman, because they already did Batman. It all just makes perfect sense to me. Makes perfect sense to me. Yeah. Let me know in the comments down below, what do you think about my breakthrough? I think that it is absolutely correct. Now, I could be wrong. I could just be desperately trying to tie the strings together, but you know, I was thinking that since in my abridged universe, when I start doing DC, by the way, my abridged channel will be in the description down below. When I start doing the DC stuff, I put Christian Bale Batman as the main Batman in the universe. So that's why it was in my head. But then, when I really started to think about it, and why there are so many artifacts from the Dark Knight in particular, from the Dark Knight trilogy in particular, inside of Elseworlds Part 2, it all just made perfect sense to me. And the fact that Batwoman's costume in general matches the aesthetic of, you know, Christian Bale's Batman suit. Like, it all makes perfect sense. To me, it all makes perfect sense. But I want to know what you think about this. Let me know in the comments down below. And if you think I'm right, which I think I'm right. And plus, the Dark Knight trilogy is great. So why wouldn't you want to connect to the Arrowverse? And plus, the strings have already been tied together. And I think that, you know, they wanted us to believe that, you know, Batman wasn't in the Arrowverse, and he'll never be in the Arrowverse. He's only just the name. But what they're hiding is, he was there all along. He was the start of it all. And we didn't even know it. These were his start. So yeah. Let me know if you think I'm right in the comments down below. And I'm Spidey-Fan 101 saying peace.